let's do it. Welcome into the San Francisco 49ers Report. Chase Sr. here with you. Coming up here on the show, the biggest thing that Brock Purdy must fix as he goes forward in his career. Hope everybody has a great start to their 2025 and your new year is going well. Couple of things before we dive into the show. We are almost to 154,000 subscribers. As you can see, worldwide, 153,910 people are subscribed to the channel. That means that we're 90 people away from 154,000 subs. Huge offseason coming up for San Francisco. I will be covering this team every single day because that is the standard and that's what we do. So on today's show, can we get to that number? Lock us in and hit that sub button. Our show today, by the way, made possible thanks to our friends at Rome. And if you're watching the show right now and you're like, Chase, 2025 is underway, you're looking good, I'd agree. I look good. I feel good. And it's thanks to our friends at Rhone. I am wearing their commuter polo right now. And if you want to level up your fashion game for the new year, you can get 20% off your order at rhone.com/chatsports and use that code chatsports so that they know that the 49ers Report sent you. Starchy, stiff workwear is not optimal when you need to endure your busiest, most important days. With Rhone's commuter collection, the clothing looks professional, performs like activewear, and feels like total comfort. Are you wanting to look good without having to think about it? A layerable, durable, refined wardrobe that is easy to style and exudes confidence effortlessly in a wide range of social and professional events. The frustration, and we all feel this, of trying to keep up with ever-changing trends and confusion in the nuances of men's fashion, sport coat versus blazer, for example, and the hassle of frequent dry cleaning or washing only for clothes to shrink or fade. You don't have to worry about any of these issues with Rhone. Premium pieces to elevate every occasion. We're talking about the world's most comfortable pants, dress shirts, quarter zips, polos, and blazers, all boosted with functional performance properties. They have signature technical fabrics as well, stretch in every direction. They're breathable, and they have great colors. So the commuter collection can get you through any workday and straight into whatever comes next. You want to hit the golf course? Fine. You want to go out on a date with the shorty? You can do that as well. Head to rhone.com/chatsports. Use the promo code chatsports to save 20% off your entire order. That's 20% off your entire order by going to rhone.com/chatsports and use that code chatsports. It's time to embody your most confident self. All right, now the show gets underway. I know a lot of you are excited for this conversation. I am as well, and no matter where you are, how you're tuned in, thanks for hanging out here on the program. What I want to discuss is the biggest thing, in my opinion, that Brock Purdy must fix. Brock Purdy, as he progresses in his career, has to improve in the second half of games. This is a very troubling trend that he has struggled with here during the 2024 campaign. For instance, against the Detroit Lions on Monday Night Football, Purdy was awesome. 14 of 16, 200 yards, 2 touchdowns through the air, 1 on the ground. That scrambling touchdown was very impressive, and when you watch him in that game, it was very reminiscent of what he did in 2023 when he finished top 5 in MVP voting, and that was behind a porous offensive line on Monday night that did play well in stretches, but featured 2 practice squad players getting time at that tackle spot. Purdy also with that passer rating in the first 30 minutes against Detroit, 158.3. He was flawless in that first half. But then what happened when we flipped the page to the third and fourth quarter? He threw a bad pick late in the third, a back-breaking pick in the fourth quarter, and for the third straight game, Purdy threw a bad ball, which resulted in an interception when the Niners were driving, trailing, looking to take the lead and win the ball game. And so that's 3 straight games in which a costly mistake for Purdy has cost them a football game. And that was really the only way that the Detroit Lions were going to ever stop this Niners offense. San Francisco and Detroit did not punt at all throughout the course of that game. And it goes down as one of the most viewed Monday Night Football games over the last several years. It was historic. It was fun. It was entertaining. And this was in a game where the Niners had nothing to play for and the Lions had nothing to play for. But we were keeping an eye on Purdy's play and his development, because the big looming question mark for after this year, will he get a contract extension from San Francisco? And if he does, how much will it be? Well, if he wants to get paid and if he wants to be looked at and viewed as one of the top quarterbacks in the game, he has to play better when the pressure cooker is on in the second half, when teams make adjustments, when the Niners are trailing, because when you get paid that amount of money, you have to be the reason that you win these ball games. You have to lift up the rest of your teammates. You have to make good on that investment. Take a look at these numbers. Purdy by half in 2024. In the first half of games, he's awesome. And by the way, the attempts are very similar. He's thrown for more than 2,000 yards in the first half. He's completed just under 65% of his passes, 8.5 yards per attempt, 12 touchdowns, 2 picks, a passer rating of 104.7. But in the second half of games, yards go down. Completion percentage goes up. Yards per attempt goes down a hair. The big numbers here. He goes from 12 touchdowns and 2 picks in the first half to 8 touchdowns and 10 picks in the second half, and his passer rating goes down from 104.7 to 86.1. Purdy has noticeably struggled when you come off of the first half script and after the opposition is able to make adjustments, and when him and Kyle Shanahan have to navigate the game on the fly, dictated by the flow of the game. That's when Purdy has struggled this year. He has also thrown 6 of those interceptions in the fourth quarter. That'll kill you. That is what you call backbreaking. And the 49ers scoring differential is minus 56 this year in that fourth and final quarter. It's not all because of Brock Purdy, but when you give the ball away and you're throwing 6 picks in that final quarter, keeps you from scoring points. It leads to points for the opposition, and that's part of the reason why the Niners are minus 56 in the final frame. And how about this? Purdy went down 1 to 8 points in the fourth quarter or overtime, 41 of 72, 502 yards, 3 touchdowns, 7 picks, a passer rating of 52.9. He ranks 151st of 160 for quarterbacks with 50-plus attempts in that scenario since 2000. When you were thinking about paying a quarterback that much money, the quarterback has to be better in the second half in general, and you're relying on that quarterback to lift you to a victory. And sometimes that requires having to come back in these games. Now, I will say this. Kyle Shanahan is also partially to blame. He can also do a better job of helping Brock Purdy because a quarterback and head coach tandem, they work in unison. And Shanahan also struggles in the second half. But Kyle Shanahan also isn't throwing the second half picks. He wasn't the one who airmailed Ricky Pearsall. He wasn't the one who threw it right to Kirby Joseph. But with Shanahan, like Purdy, in the second half of games, he needs to coach better. Purdy needs to play better. Both of these things can be true at the same time. Josh Dubow. 49ers fall to 0-44 in the regular season and in the playoffs under Kyle Shanahan after trailing by 8-plus points in the fourth quarter. The only coach since at least 1991 with the worst record. Dom Capers, 0-57. Bobby Ross, 0-53. How about this? Kyle Shanahan's 767 win percentage in games that he led by 8-plus points since becoming the Niners head coach in 2017 ranks 30th among 32 coaches with 25-plus games when they've had a lead of 8-plus points in the last 10 years. Playoffs included. Only Frank Reich and Matt Nagy are worse. Frank Reich, no longer a head coach. He got fired. Matt Nagy, no longer a head coach. He too got fired. I'm a big fan of Kyle Shanahan, but he needs to get better in those areas and more. Going back to Purdy, these are also issues with him because in the NFL playoffs, in the NFC, you could play in some bad weather games in multiple cities. Philadelphia, New York, Green Bay, Chicago. The list goes on and on and on. And it's not just in the cold. You might have to play in the rain in Tampa Bay. In the regular season, you never know which opponents you're going to take on until the schedule is released. But what did we see this year? When he had to play in the snow in Buffalo, Josh Allen had no problem spinning it. Josh Allen could throw in that weather. Brock Purdy could not. In the rain, when it was still warm against the Rams, what happened with Brock Purdy? Struggled to throw it. Matthew Stafford did not. And so Purdy continues to struggle in inclement weather. In 5 starts with rain or snow at kickoff, he's 2-3. His QBR is 49.7. His completion rate is 57.4. His QBR is 72 with the 67.7% completion rate. In all those other starts, this was going into the Lions game, the Niners were 25-10, now 25-11. So good weather games, Purdy plays really well. Small sample size in the bad weather, but we clearly see a different player because he's a limited athlete to a certain degree. Now we round out with this. If you still believe in Brock Purdy, I want you to type BP down in the comment section. Let me know that you're a Purdy believer. If not, though, I want you to comment why. As always, thank you so much for watching the show. Hope you're having a great start to your 2025. Don't forget to subscribe, and we appreciate you.